Evening, everybody following RTO Doctor on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever you're following us from, and welcome to another 30 Days, 30 Tips, second series on this Saturday evening at, it's a very late time tonight. I will make it very short just because it is quite late and I'm getting a little bit tired. But tonight I just wanted to quickly talk to you about something that I see a lot of in the vet sector, and I don't think that people realise just how prevalent it is, nor how much danger it can get them in. So what I'm referring to, of course, is where RTOs or prospective RTOs will copy policies, procedures, LLN, pre-enrollment information, marketing, student handbooks, whatever they can get their hands on from any other provider on the internet. And what they don't necessarily realise is that that other provider that they're actually copying off may have material on their website that is not compliant, that is subsequently going to make them not compliant. Now, there are some providers where you might think that they would be a fantastic provider to copy and paste their stuff off because they do a fantastic job out there in industry and they've got a great reputation for the student experience, and students are really happy, staff are really happy, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their materials are compliant, nor does it mean that their website is compliant. So that's the first part of the issue. The second part of the issue, of course, is to just copy and paste someone's intellectual property off their website, or to use their policies and procedures and claim them as your own, is not only considered theft of intellectual property, but also a breach of copyright potentially. And there may also be licensing requirements around the use of those policies and procedures and forms and so forth that you're actually taking off their website. Now, one of the other things that you need to consider in relation to this is that many policies, procedures and forms should be contextualized to the actual training provider or the client whose website that they're actually on. So we once upon a time had somebody come to us and say that they could have got all of their policies and procedures for free off one of the TAFE websites. I won't name the TAFE. But they said, why should we pay for our policies and procedures and forms when we can get them for free to download off this particular TAFE's website? But this is a small RTO that we were talking about, and so you can imagine that the policies, procedures and forms of a significant sized TAFE are very different in terms of requirements and needs of students and staff to a small RTO who is not yet operating and in fact hadn't even been registered. They were just starting to put together their RTO registration. And so they decided that they wanted to do their own thing. Where they got their policies and procedures from, I don't know. But then there are other providers, for example, who will look at someone's website and say, oh, that looks like a great way of addressing a specific issue, and it means that I may not have to do this, that or the other. But just because somebody else is doing A, it doesn't mean that it's right for you to do A, because you don't know what's going on in the background with that other provider whose website that you're taking that information from. So, for example, in the last 48 hours, I've had 3 different people contact me suggesting that they might take information from a particular provider's website. Now, there's nothing publicly available yet in relation to this particular RTO and their website and pre-enrollment information and their current situation, but I happen to know what the situation is through my conversations with them confidentially. Now, I can't say to anybody who that particular provider is, and nor would I. However, I guess what I'm trying to explain to people is that just because the website is there and available doesn't necessarily mean that the information on it is correct. And you don't know what compliance issues that particular provider is dealing with in the background, very quietly, without anybody in the public even knowing about it, and the implications that taking that information from their website and their pre-enrollment information may have on your operation. So it's always really important to remember that you should always have your own information. It is okay to find stuff that is freely available on the internet, as long as you know you're not stealing somebody else's intellectual property, as long as you know that you wouldn't be breaching somebody's licensing agreements. If you know that somebody has put a lot of hard work into something and that ordinarily you would have to pay that person for it, and you're taking it for free, then just think about the impact that that's having on that person's business as well. And you would know that if you are ordinarily expected to pay for that product, then perhaps you should be too. And that in itself should be a reminder to you that perhaps I shouldn't be stealing this, or perhaps I shouldn't be using this without getting permission from the person who I know that document came from, or the person who I know that that information came from. You just don't know what the level of compliance is. You don't know what the ownership arrangements are. You don't know what the licensing arrangements are. And therefore you should really make sure that the information that you use is contextualized, again, to your organization's needs, that you are the owner, the legitimate owner of that information, and that you haven't taken it from somebody else's website or somebody else's student handbook, because you never know just how wrong that information is. So I hope that that information has been helpful for you this evening. Once again, a very quick one for tonight. I look forward to seeing you again for another 30 days, 30 tips tomorrow. Welcome to any new followers, and thank you again. Good night. Bye for now.